Ciao ragazzi,
All right.
we are live into worldwide. I'm joined by my man Louis from Forza Inter Forums. This is a little bit of a special episode. Of course, it's special because it's the first game right after we beat the Ladri Gobbi Dogs in the Juventini.
Oh,
I'm still buzzing. I know
it's been
Louis still buzzing.
forever, isn't it?
Oh, bro, it's been so long. But Louis, how you doing, my bro? Introduce yourself, and talk a little bit about your name on Forza Inter Forums, and also tell the people how you became an Inter fan.
Okay, I'm Louis. I'm Louis with the Luigi emoji. I've been in the forum, I think, quite a few years, and then I had to take a break when we hired De Boer. I'd had it up to my fucking head with the team, and that was it. But I've never stopped watching. I think the first game is kind of a family thing because my dad's a big Interista. But his brother is huge with Milan, so I always took my dad's side. And then I remember the first game I watched was Recoba when he scored that screamer. Yeah, and then I was hooked from there. Then this club gives you enough drama to stay locked in. It's like a TV show, man.
100%, bro. 100%. Cheers to that. Udinese next, but because I've got you here, let's talk a little bit about your reaction to the Juventus win, bro. I mean, it was a big win. You said it was a long time. How do you think the mentality is in training this week? Because, man, I'd love to be a bird in the tree, man, or just anywhere in that training ground just to see what the mentality is like, right, bro?
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem with Inter this year, and especially under Conte, is that it's the mentality that suffered. I firmly believe that this season we have the squad, we have the talent to win a Scudetto. I mean, we're a bit weak on the left side, but I don't really think it's killing us. But I think we have enough. Juve, I hope that win was kind of like a wake up call, that the players realize that, you know, when we play the way we can to our abilities, we can beat just about anybody. But like you said before, like we've looked lost against bad teams. But so hopefully Juve is a wake up call, because there's no reason we should be losing or drawing, or play at the very least playing poorly against bad teams.
Absolutely, man. And Udinese are a team this season that, although they're not completely horrible, they're not good. They're not as good as they've been in their past few seasons. They've been a bogey side for us pretty much for every season in the last decade. But, we've actually started to better our results against them recently. They're 15th on the table at the moment. And I think I speak for most people when I say that the only threat in their side comes from one of our transfer targets, Rodrigo De Paul. As long as Antonio Conte has his number on the day, I can't see how Udinese is going to break down our defense, which is starting to finally communicate. And, we've had a couple of lapses in concentration this season, but I've never seen our defense necessarily break down tactically. It's just those sporadic moments of absolute stupidity where all the fans are just like, how they've been so solid and fluid. How did that happen at the back post? How did no one see that? So I'm hoping for another game like that. I'd love to see a dominant performance. Like, what are your initial feelings going into Udinese before we dive into some more stuff like lineups and team news?
I have the same view as you. I think we have more than enough talent. I think I'm actually most interested in watching De Paul, because like the links are getting hot and his time at Udinese is kind of coming to an end. So I think he's probably going to put on one of the better performances. But I mean, they're not a very good team, and we have them in every aspect of it. It would be a real letdown if we stink it up against Udinese coming off such a high against Juve.
For sure, bro. So I would agree, man. Well, let's go into, one of my biggest vexes this season, and I don't want to complain a lot because, as we kind of just mentioned before we went on camera, this is a crazy season for football. I woke up this morning and conveniently in Australian time, I watched Burnley, who are coming 18th or 17th, knock Liverpool 1-0 at Anfield. First time they've lost at home in, I think, over 1,400 days or something like that. That's bizarre. Real Madrid just got dicked out of the Copa del Rey by a third division side. Bayern Munich are dropping points left, right, and center. In the grand context and scheme of things, bro, Conte and Inter might actually be one of the more tactically solid and assured sides in Europe, would you say?
Yeah, I agree. Because the three teams you just mentioned, Liverpool, Bayern and who was the other team you mentioned?
Madrid, but Barcelona's also wank this season as well.
Of course. See, these are all all those teams are at the end of a project that's been successful, right? So maybe their mentality is slipping. Maybe they don't have the drive they once had. Because once you win, the hardest thing is to keep winning, right? Because you have that level of excellence you aspire to, but other teams are actively getting better and they want to take you down. So I kind of like seeing the Giants fall a little bit, but I kind of like the way we've been turning it around. I really do. Especially like you said with the defense before, we've always had a problem, especially when we give up possession and we're under pressure. But I mean, look at Skriniar the last 8-10 games.
Yeah, he's a boss.
I mean, if you skip out all the drama and stuff, he's quietly turned back into form. De Vrij's always excellent. Bastoni is. There's nothing more you can say about Bastoni. But now that the defense has tightened up and they've become a little bit more aggressive and imposing, I'm looking forward to us being a lot tighter on defense anyway. That's for sure. Because that was the main concern when the season started.
Fair, bro, fair. And I think that we've shown in more games than not often recently that defensive-wise, we're pretty much good to go for majority of the game. It's just like turning it on when it matters most. And I dare say, bro, if we can do it against Juventus, we can do it against anybody in the league. There's no reason why we can't dominate most of the matches for the rest of the season. So let's show that. Sal Gentile, who's a regular in this chat, so big up yourself. Thank you very much, bro. Can Conte please do some rotations for this game and go all in on Milan? That would mean so much for the mentality, I think he means for the mentality of the team beating both title contenders. 100%, bro. That game's around the corner, and I have no doubt we're going to see some rotation. But if I'm not mistaken, that game against Milan is actually about 4 days after Fiorentina. After Udinese. So I still think the core of the team will remain the same for both fixtures. I think you're still going to see the same back three in both of those games. I still think you're going to see Barella, Brozovic. You might see Gagliardini start one of those two games instead of Vidal. But, while we're out of Europe, Sal, I really think there will be rotation, but not as much as people think. I think Conte, he will stick to the majority of what he knows best. And as long as physically he sees that there are no issues in training, your names will be back on the team sheet come game day. Would you agree there, bro, Louis?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to play now that you're tied for first. You have to play every game to win. What I'd like to see some rotation, but eventually Conte is going to have to trust Sensi, or he's going to have to commit or not commit to Eriksen at some point. Because even though, we got a game a week, we have no Champions League to bother us anymore. The Copa is not really a major issue, but I know it's hard to balance because you have to get your rotational players comfortable in case you need them, because anything can happen. But at the same time, you got to get whatever it takes to get 3 points. So I see what you're saying. I could see Vidal taking a seat for Gagliardini, who I'm kind of fine with because whatever, he does a job, right? But we need Barella, we need Brozovic.
There are players on this team that, despite being complained about, some of us never wanted to leave. Your D'Ambrosios, your Gagliardinis, even your Vecinos. Like, they're great off the bench. When Gagliardini comes on in the 70th minute, I'm like, great. He's got enough in the tank physically and technically to get us down for 20 minutes. That's fine. What I'm not okay with is these players starting week in, week out. So I'm happy with our depth in our bench. When I look at our bench versus every other bench in the league, like I'm convinced we've got the best bench in the league. We've probably got the best starters in the league as well. It's all ticking in the right places. As you said, mentally, that's the only way we can fuck it up from here, bro. So let's hope for 3 good points. Gio, great to listen to as I'm walking home from the gym, bro. That's what we like to hear. I am actually very frightened for this game. Would be classic Inter to lose against Udinese after the stellar Juve performance. My Bet365 account would confirm that theory, bro. Sal Gentile, again, I heard Eriksen might play. He scored a brace in the friendly yesterday. Yes, he did score a brace in the friendly yesterday against a Serie C side, bro. I wonder how he felt playing that game. Louis, what do you reckon Eriksen felt playing against the Serie C side in training yesterday, bro?
They got him against the Serie C side?
Yeah, he played
yesterday.
It was Vecino's return from injury. I think he returned to the game as well. But yeah, Eriksen played against the Serie C side. Yeah, bro. It's peak.
I
But then,
I
like,
really feel bad for the guy.
the Inter Facebook released a photo of him, like, doing bits in training. It's hard to gauge what the mentality is or what the hell's going on. Or are we tactically trying to sell him? I don't know, bro. It's a weird thing, isn't it?
That's 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 what I'm honestly most interested in this season, because I need to know what happened with Eriksson. I just because it seems like it's a communication breakdown from everybody. I mean, they negotiated with this guy for a month. Like, wasn't at any point in that month did Conte say, you know, I can't really use this guy, or did maybe they go above his head and said we're going to get him because he's a great player and he's big value, and there's the lowest he's ever going to be. This is the least amount he's ever going to cost us. So it's a shame what happened, because I mean, Eriksson, he's 10 years of pro now. I mean, the guy's got glowing stats for club and country. And if you had no idea what his skills were before you signed him, then why just sign him?
Exactly.
Yeah. It kind of disturbed the harmony a little bit, because I think to win a Scudetto or to win a Champions League, you need squad harmony. Everybody has to be committed to the project. So I don't like that little elephant in the back with what's going on with Eriksson. He's been a professional about it, and he's not the type to complain, which I respect. But I mean, it can't be that hard to get him playing, man. It can't be that hard.
No, it can't be. Look, at the end of the day, if worst comes to worst, then Conte needs to bring him on to hold a lead every single time for 10 minutes this season. Hey, bro, his wages aren't coming out of my back pocket, bro. All I want to do is see us lift a trophy. I couldn't give a shit about anything else, man. Gio says, got to give Pinamonte. Yeah, got to give Pinamonte a chance for Rom. Once again, bro, I don't see it happening. Not without Champions League. Romelu Lukaku has not only proven that he is the go-to guy, he's proven that he can get injured, recover quickly, make the bench again in case we're in deep shit, to be that kind of guy to head in the 119th minute against Fiorentina. Bruv, Romelu Lukaku is not getting dropped at all unless he personally requests it, and even then I would have my doubts. No. So if Pinamonte's not going anywhere in January, there's only one other place he's not going to see, and that's probably the field for us, bro. If he does for a few minutes at the ends of some games, good. But it's a crazy season, Louis, bro. And like some players, I think it's going to have to bite the bullet one way or another, contract-wise, playing-wise times. It's a very weird time, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree 100%. As long as Lukaku's healthy, he's playing. He's fundamental to the system. And he's a beast. Like, the guy doesn't get hurt. I mean, you know, knock on wood, but he's very durable, and he's not too wild in his movements that he would get injured. I mean, it's basically simple. You know, he gets the ball in the post, and he holds the defender off and waits for people to join him, and then he makes a move. I mean, and that's what I like what Conte did with him. He kind of simplified his game and gave him, like, just simplified his game and made him the type of player that we're seeing now. So we're going Lukaku every possible game, no matter what.
100%, bro, 100%. Rightfully so. I would really love to see Radu. Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, we've got one competition again. I've always said this season and last season, Handanovic needs to be dropped to second choice keeper if we can get an adequate replacement. But, you know, Handanovic is still good enough to do the job for the rest of the season. I hope we've got a plan in the background. Like my boy Christian Rivas says, we're kind of like crossing our fingers and hoping there's some sort of masterstroke to bring Donnarumma across the city. But we don't know. We don't know if that's going to happen. But other than that, Handanovic, bro. Louis, what are your thoughts on Handanovic, man?
You know what? In every sport, every team has that problem where you have that veteran who's been loyal and who's been great for you, but the clock is ticking. Like, there's no doubt when you watch Handanovic play, that first step is gone. Like, his positioning is still good. His reactions are still fairly good, but I mean, the slips are going to keep happening, and they're not going to get better. But you got to keep going with him, because he might have a bad game, but if anything, the guy's a professional. He doesn't let it get to him emotionally, and he always gets us back no matter what. He had a couple big saves against Juve that really helped us out. Because, I mean, when you're 2-0, and if you let in a goal against Juve, the mentality, the tempo could completely change, because you know they have the talent, right? But it's big saves like that. So I say we stick with Handanovic. I think now that half the season's over, I doubt that we're going to see Radu.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's here. So
unless Handanovic gets injured, that's the only way we're going to see Radu.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And we got to go with Honda every game because he's the guy I want in the moment. I've seen Radu. He's made some good saves, but I mean, what did he play with Genoa last year?
Yeah, but as a few people on this channel have said, it's more than just making the saves, man. Handanovic's communication and, veteran status in the back to be able to be there for us and the captain on the team. Like, he's worth way more than even I've given him credit for in the past. And I'm just going to stick by what I've said every week. Age-wise, your reaction time is decreasing, man. It's nothing personal. Purely for logistical reasons, we need to replace you. But other than that, you are a vital part of this team, and I think you would go straight to the #1 second choice goalkeeper on the planet, no doubt. You would be a great mentor, and like, God forbid our first choice goalkeeper would ever get injured or be unavailable. We'd all welcome you in for open arms for how many weeks you needed to be in with the club to be on the field, man. So it's going to happen, man. Let's hope Marotta and co in the back room have got something planned. We've got 8 people in the chat right now, which is good because I know it's a bullshit time most of the time around the world. So hit a like, please, if you are in the room. Lasagna somehow will score against us like always, 100%. Although we've been doing an okay job this season at keeping most people who we expect to score against us not, except for that Sampdoria game. That one was written in the scriptures for Candreva and Keita Balde to score.
Right?
It's amazing. Louis, I couldn't believe how many Inter fans said that they would score before the game, and it happened, bro. It was amazing. The collective ball of energy, I feel like it contributed to them scoring, G.
That's what Forza Inter is. I mean, the craziest thing that can happen will probably happen. Yeah. We've had enough of these moments in our history where crazy things happen, and now like we're kind of used to it. So I don't think anyone was surprised when Candreva or Keita scored. No one was surprised.
No one at all. Gio, I agree with every possible game, but something is bound to happen. Bruv, something is bound to happen. We're bound to slip, but to be honest, I don't expect to slip against this Udinese team. I expect 3 points. Like, let's say hypothetically, and this is a big thing to say because in the moment I'd be really pissed off. If we were to beat Udinese, pump Benevento, draw against Milan, and then beat Lazio, and then beat our next team after that, I can forgive the drop points to Milan. I can forgive drop points away to any of these big sides for the rest of the season because I know come the end of the season, it's going to be the team who beats the minnows the most that wins that Scudetto. Whoever can get rid of every single team that's underneath that 5th and 6th curve, that's who's lifting that Scudetto. You got to dispose of every single one of those teams underneath you. That way, the drop points, you know, as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say to all his teams before Champions League, you don't lose your away games, you win your home games, you'll be sweet. In our situation, you don't lose your away games to the big teams. You don't lose it all to the big teams, Louis. You beat the teams underneath you. Everything will be roses, man. What do you think?
Yeah, it's simple math, basically. If you win all the games you should win and you steal some points from the big teams, it's hard to demand or expect a win against good teams. I think there's a lot of teams that could give us a tough time. But you just got to steal points from them and, like you said, kill the minnows. Those are the teams you have to beat. And I mean, I look at the talent difference. There's no excuse anymore. I mean, Conte's had a year and a half with this team. He's got virtually every player he's wanted, and he's got resources on the bench. We have 5 subs, and we've got coverage in every position. So he can change the tempo. He could change the tactics at any time he wants, really. And we have the talent to support it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Gio, agree 100%. Got to beat the mediocre. Thanks for joining the chat and all your comments. Reach out if you know where we are as well, my G. Indra Hari is back again. Thank you, bro. Lukaku is vital to this squad. No other players can give same quality post-play like Lukaku gives. 100%, bro. He's an integral part, not only tactically, but mentally as well. The only thing I don't like about him is he likes to chuck his hands out and blame players when they don't use him, even though he's in like real shit positions. Cause like I watch him throw his hands up and I'm like, bro, you got 3 defenders around you. The ball was never gonna get to you, man. Do you see it?
That's that natural striker mentality where it's like no matter what happens, they think you should have passed it to them.
Yeah. But that's all right, man. And that's that sort of mentality that keeps him scoring goals in the back ends of games. Like I've said many times before, I love having a striker that can miss, cough the ball up. Not even that he's been doing that this season. This season, he's been fan-fucking-tastic. I can't even say that. Last season, in his first season with us, he did have that little bit of hangover from the Premier League where he showed his touch wasn't fantastic. It was getting away from him. But this season, I can't utter a bad word against the guy. But to be honest, man, he sticks with it for every minute of the 90-plus stoppage time, and that's why he's always scoring goals, even towards the end of the matches, bro. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And you know what I like about this year is that last year when he was playing really bad games, even when he was scoring, but then this year he's improved in the sense that even if he's not scoring, he's still maintaining that consistent play. I mean, like you saw against Juventus, he didn't score, but I mean, he made a mess of Chiellini, and Udinese's defense was kind of scattered because of it, and they had no answer. Seriously, there's no one in the league that could body Lukaku. So as long as he keeps exploiting that, because the area in Serie A is sticky. You're going to get grabbed. You're going to get pushed. You might get bit. But, I mean, as long as he gets tougher and he sticks to that post play, I mean, the guy's unstoppable. He's just simply too massive. And Conte knew exactly what he was doing when he bought him.
Yo, like when I have a think about it, and when I think about that, I think we played a friendly against United, and Conte went and like shook his hand or something and whispered something in his ear. And now that I think about it, I'm like, fuck, that was such a big deal and it meant so much to Conte, man, that we got Lukaku. Yeah. And I'm really, really thankful that he did, because I remember when it was down to crunch time to sign him, I even remember putting a video out going, you know what, just sack Lukaku for 85 million and go and get Cavani instead. I'm so happy that we got Lukaku. Nothing against Cavani. He's still balling out. And when he's asked to do a job at the moment in the Premier League, he's doing it for Man United. But Lukaku is something else, man. And I'm so happy that we've got Lukaku. Gio, Radu played for my father's hometown club, Avellino, a few seasons back in Serie B, and he was pretty good. That's awesome, bro. Franco, Forza Inter, we will take all 3 points against Udinese. I hope so, bruv. I hope so. Yeah, Louis, in terms of our lineup, man, let's go through it and let me get this banner up so I can put this lineup up. Do we have any changes, do you reckon? Do you see it scrolling down the bottom? Any changes from our last couple of games? So you can see Handanovic. We're not going to change the back three for this match, clearly. 3 points means a lot to Conte, way more than even progression in the Coppa Italia means, I would say, despite the fact that it's a derby. The only thing I can think of is maybe that left wing-back side position and maybe one of the central midfielders, possibly Lautaro out for Sanchez, but I doubt it, because Sanchez, I feel like, has been tingling on and off with like 75% fitness, 80% fitness. I don't think Sanchez has been 100% for a while. So that's why I still think Lautaro starts. And I also think Lautaro starts because Conte is smart and he knows Lautaro needs a goal. And this is a great opponent for him to bag a couple of soft ones. Yeah.
Well, Lautaro, he's a bit snake bitten. I mean, he gets goal scoring opportunities a lot. Like, he makes good runs. He's very clever in evading defenders, but he's just missing. Like, the guy's missing shots that are like 90% conversion rate. So I think it's in his head, and I think Conte knows that. But what's promising to me is that he's using his brain to get into scoring positions. So then once he's a bit more, I think it's a confidence thing, because still, I mean, he's still young for a striker, man. Like, we put a lot of expectations on him, but I mean, he kind of got a bit better this year. Even though his finishing is it's still not very good, but he's getting into position, and that's all you can ask for. And Lukaku really isn't the easiest player to play with as a defensive partner, because the ball's going to go to him first. But I think their chemistry isn't great together, but they could still make it happen, which is good enough for me. And that's kind of all you need at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%, man. In terms of the game itself, you know, we've had 49 meetings between us and Udinese. We've got 24 wins. Udinese have 13 altogether. In terms of form, Udinese are winless in 5 games. We, on the other hand, have 3 wins in 5 with only 1 loss in all form competitions. I like us to win the game, Louis. You have to go first because you're my guest, but do the embarrassing part and give us a prediction, bro.
The Inter fan in me says we're going to draw 1-1.
Yeah,
we'll play okay.
Bro. That's such an easy bet, bro. It's such a shoe-in, that 1-1.
The reason I'm saying it is because the Inter, I know, for the last, how many years now?
Fuck, bro. Since Mourinho, basically,
Yeah, we win a big game, and then we hope for continuity, and then we might fall flat on our face and just play like absolute garbage. And it's entirely possible. But I mean, if I just looking at it from a football fan's perspective, I mean, we should win 2-0 without a doubt.
I love 2-0, bro. Conte's favorite scoreline. He might as well tattoo it on his forehead, bro. 2-0 would be brilliant. That's exactly what Man, you just echoed it perfectly. I was literally saying in my head, I'm going to predict 2-0, but I'll probably go and chuck $10 on 1-1 as well. So that, that way, no matter what, I'll be right, because those are the only two scorelines that could possibly happen, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
But,
because I can't really see Conte going for a third. Because if we're up 2-0, I mean, he's going to make a defensive sub. Darmian is going to come on, and then there's another question: is Hakimi starting?
Well, yeah, I think so. Hakimi will start because there's no reason to suggest that he won't. I've been really happy with Darmian coming off the bench, man. He really offers a high footballing IQ for the Serie A, for the Italian game, and that's really good. He comes on, he can do a job on either flank. We've got this luxury at the moment where we're subbing in Darmian and looking at Perisic going, maybe there's no minutes for you at the moment, man. So at the moment, we don't have this world-class player on the left-hand side, Louis, but it's like quantity over quality at the moment over there, bro, with Ashley Young, Perisic, Darmian as well filling in. What do you reckon, bro?
I don't know. I prefer to go with Young all the time because, like, Perisic, I just don't think his heart's in it anymore. I think he's here because, I mean, last year he put up a great season with Bayern. And it's easy to have a good season with Bayern because you're surrounded by great players. But I don't think he has the freedom now in the Serie A. He lost that crossover step. I mean, he's still, like, he has a good cross and he has a good shot, but he's not really getting into positions where he can use it. And I only think he's here because just they had that need on the left side. There were no other options for financial reasons or whatever. And there was nowhere they were going to send him. So I think they came to the conclusion that it was easier to keep him. Basically.
And at the end of the day, he's got these certain qualities. Like, for his age, he's got ridiculously good fitness levels. He's actually quite versatile. He's a professional. He's headstrong. He's the kind of player that Conte can shake his hand and go, look, it hasn't worked out in terms of organizing a sale, but you're here. You want to win something. Let's make the most of it. And Perisic is probably the type of player to go, no worries, boss. Let's see what we can do. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm happy to have him in that aspect.
Yeah, and he's mature enough that he understands that he'll have to play different roles, which requires more like a defensive role. And he's not a slouch defensively. Like, he's not bad. I don't really see him get burned too often because, like you said, his fitness level. I mean, just being near your opponent is kind of good enough sometimes because, honestly, our wingers, they don't really have a lot of defensive they don't really need a lot of defensive skills. Like Hakimi, I mean, the guy's basically a forward now. If you have Barella and Skriniar who cover so much ground, Hakimi could do whatever he wants. And those are the similarities I see with Maicon as well. Because Maicon wasn't really a great defender, but I mean, you have Zanetti, Cambiaso covering you.
Something that I've noticed as well, Hakimi's playing a lot similar in Maicon in a way that Maicon would sit deeper in the first half, or especially the first 35 minutes. But then there'd be certain periods of the match where they wouldn't drop back at all. They'd know when the opponent was fatigued and they'd know when they need to be in those advantageous positions. That's what Hakimi did brilliantly against Juventus. He knew that the defense was there. They could almost identify during the game, probably with a lot of help from Conte at halftime, that Pirlo had fuck all nothing on Pirlo's attacking left-hand side, our attacking right-hand side. We ate them for dinner, man. So I'm just hoping that Udinese will sit back. They won't come at us the way Juventus did because, you know, they just don't have any reason to, really. So, me, myself, I'll predict 2-0 as well, just because it's the right prediction. But 1-1, it wouldn't surprise me, man.
If Udinese, if we get to the second half and we're level, I could see Udinese pulling the shoot and playing full defense because that's where we're kind of weak. We're not good against when teams park the bus because we don't have that super technique from the midfield. Because most of our game, it's applying pressure, and you keep pressuring until you break them down and you find the hole. But when the team isn't fighting back, I mean, that's where like an Eriksen or a Sensi would come in handy. But who knows? Who knows? Sensi's a wild card for me. I don't know what's going on. I'd love to know, but we need him.
You know what's the worst thing, G, is that every time he even makes a subtle appearance, he's one of the best men on the pitch. Every time, right away. Even if it's just for 12 minutes, everyone's like, fuck, look at Sensi. Look at him controlling everything. Look at him doing all his things. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
He does it so well. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Bruno said that he hasn't missed any time at all.
My friend Bruno said that maybe Vidal requested that he really, really wanted to play in the Coppa against Fiorentina. That's why Sensi came off at halftime. But then again, Sensi didn't make an appearance at all against Juventus, so we've got to understand. So what do you think of it, man? Like, do you think it's all mental? And if so, like, it's weird because I only have basic knowledge. I've done a small uni degree in exercise physiology and exercise science, but if there's no injury there, it's up here, man.
Yeah, like what is this, like Icardi all over again, where it's like a mystery? I mean, Sensi doesn't seem like that type of player, but like we've committed to him and we paid $25 million for him. We held up our end of the bargain. So Inter, basically, they have to kind of, what's good now is that things are kind of working, that we're not desperate for Sensi. But I mean, how are they going to know when they're ready to just unleash him and let him play his game? Because I mean, if you put him on and you're nervous about him, then I'm not too keen on his future here. But at the same time, like, we're kind of stuck with him, so we have to take kind of a measured approach. So if there's a possibility he could get hurt, like against Samp, what they were saying with the pitch and stuff like that, you play him where you can. But really, I mean, we lose nothing when he's on the field. Whether we're winning or losing, I'm comfortable with putting him in because he has such a good understanding of the game, where he could play a short game, he could play a long game, he could join the attack. He's hard to defend, and he doesn't really take risks that put us in danger. He's honestly the perfect player for our system. So I mean, we have every reason to play him and get the most out of him. So I'd like to know if there's anything other than footballing reasons or health reasons that he's not playing, if there are.
Yeah, 100%, man. But like the thing is, we can't go into next season banking on him the same way we can't on Eriksen. So when you look at our midfield on paper at the start of the season, it was all roses. We had a little bit of everything from the buffet, high quality food as well, bro. Like you're looking at Vidal, Nainggolan, Gagliardini, Barella, Brozovic, Sensi, Eriksen. Like for fuck's sake, man, let's get real. That's the best midfield roster on the planet. Like I don't actually think there's a better midfield roster on the planet on paper. But in context, there are so many holes in that midfield, and it's ridiculous. Eriksen's style doesn't suit the manager, Antonio Conte. Bang. Yeah. Stefano Sensi is injured 80% of the time. Bang. Raja Nainggolan is a raging alcoholic and never gave two shits about playing for Inter. Bang. Then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, crap. There goes
we're short.
There goes our creativity side as well, because if you're asking Brozovic to play the position that Brozovic has become the best at playing, that register, you need to sacrifice some of his attacking creativity, which means that you need someone like a Sensi or an Eriksen in that midfield. Barella's is world class in my opinion already. He's my favorite player, but I don't want to demand too much of him to the point that it takes out of his natural game. So we're going to need to replace Sensi and Eriksen with somebody else, bro. And because we just can't bank on Sensi to be that player, we need someone slightly more technical and creative in that midfield.
Yeah, and Sensi's the perfect in-between where he could do a bit of both. Because Eriksen, I mean, Conte doesn't seem to fancy creative players. Like, he doesn't seem to have a lot of trust in creative players. Like, I can't see him just telling Eriksen, okay, go do your thing as you see fit, right? So he's he wants to be more, he wants to know that the player could do everything he asks. Now, Eriksen can't do that. Why the club thought Eriksen could do that is still beyond me. But like you said, like things happen, and I was looking forward to a Brozovic, Barella, Nainggolan midfield, because it was going to be a bloodbath, and there's no way you can beat that midfield physically or psychologically. But here we are. Now we're looking on the market for midfield replacements. We don't know what we can get from Sensi going forward, but we paid a lot for him. So I mean, it kind of sucks to have that lost value. But I mean, we saw him injured last year, and they chose to commit. So I'm going to trust that they have a long-term plan for him, but we got to start seeing that eventually, because you're going to need it.
Yeah, man. I'm just waiting for the day that we wake up for a game and we see the team news come out and we're like, all right, cool, blah, 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 blah. Sensi. Whoa, Sensi. All right. We got it. He's starting. So it'd be amazing to see that this weekend, bro. But, we'll see how we go, man. Anyway, over half an hour. I'm happy with that match preview. Louis, thank you so much for joining me on Inter Worldwide
Thank you for finally having me.
Bro, I hope you'll come back.
Have me back whenever you like.
Awesome, bro. Sounds good. All right, guys. Forza Inter, 3 punti against Udinese. No other result. Forza Inter. Ciao.
Forza ragazzi. Ciao.